guys, it's Woody here, or Will. Welcome to another review. Today we're getting in depth with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Let's do this. Oh, but before we get too in depth, let me say, if you haven't listened to this movie soundtrack, I suggest you do right now. This and Awesome Mix Volume 1 were just so amazing. So having both of them together now is amazing. Just great album, great old songs, real music. It really makes me want to get a cassette tape. Like, how cool would those be? Oh my gosh, let's do this. Boom, right in the beginning we see another famous actor transform younger because of Marvel. Kurt Russell here, Ego, meeting with Meredith Quill, using the Brandy song a very cool way. And then we see them make love under the plant. Uh-oh, Ego is here. And this one right here, quite possibly the best Marvel opening scene ever. Groot dancing to Mr. Blue Sky as the opening titles roll. And then we see him do that thing just like at the end of the first Guardians where he freezes when Drax looks at him. That was great. And that scene where Drax was hanging off the ship and then he had that spacesuit cover thingy on, that was awesome. Hey, but are we going to talk about that Howard the Duck cameo? And then we see some confrontation between Starhawk and Yondu about when he picked up Quill. And in the beginning of the movie, I was starting to get a really cool vibe with the father-son relationship with Quill and Ego, and then he takes a whiz. Then Peter's got his picture of the Hoff. Okay, but can we take a moment to look at Ego's mad flow? Like, look at that. He's got it going for an old dude. Come on, good job, Kurt Russell. And we see just a few laughs from Drax, to say the least. And Mantis's power was pretty cool to see with all the emotions. It could either make for a funny scene or a super sad scene. Rocket messing around with the Ravagers was really funny to see, and the Ravagers were hilarious in this movie. Yondu's headpiece gets blasted right off, thus setting up the fin. Ego's little storytelling with all the mannequins was pretty cool. It's kind of crazy what those fellow Ravagers do to each other, though. Taserface was pretty cool. He was mostly for comedic effect, but Rocket making fun of his name was hilarious. And then Ego teaches Star-Lord how to do the whole energy thing, and he's like, yes! And then Mantis and Drax's relationship, he's like, you are disgusting to look at. And she just takes pride in that. And then he's like, you're beautiful on the inside. That was pretty funny, but I don't know if it beats that montage of Groot bringing in these irrelevant objects when Yondu keeps asking for his fin. That was hilarious. Speaking of Finn, are we going to talk about that amazing montage of Yondu's arrow with all the Ravagers set to come a little bit closer? And even one of the Sovereign laughs at Taserface's name before he's blown to bits. Then there's that crazy space flight that Rocket, Groot, Yondu, and Kraglin take. And then that's where we get our Stan Lee cameo, where he's talking to one of the Watchers. But that makes me wonder, if he was talking about that time he was a FedEx worker. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 takes place a few months after the first one, which was in 2014, and his Civil War cameo when he was a FedEx worker was in 2016. Now, aside from that, Peter and Gamora have their dance, and then he uses cheers as a reference to their relationship. But dude, when are they going to kiss? Like, look how close their lips got in the first Guardians. Like, dude, the moment when they actually do kiss, that unspoken whatever they were talking about, like, dude, that's going to be amazing. And Gamora and Nebula's sisterly bond finally coming up this time around, with Nebula's backstory kind of expanded on more about how every time Gamora would win in a fight, Nebula would have a new metal implant attached onto her. That's just horrible. But anyway, when we finally start realizing something's not very right with Ego, he touches Peter and then he's all like, I have seen everything. But we know Ego's really gone mad when we see Gamora and Nebula find all of the skulls of his former children. Those are all from these different planets. Like, look at those things. That's disgusting. Ego made a baby with those creatures? Ew. And baby Groot throwing up has me saying two words I would never think would be together. Adorably disgusting. And then Yondu telling Rocket that they were born in basically the same circumstances and all that. It makes this emotional bond that will be put to really emotional, good use in the end of the movie. When Ego reveals he himself put that tumor in Meredith Quill, Peter is done, and he's blasting up Ego which leads to a David Hasselhoff cameo. That's right, the Hoff himself makes an appearance. Eagle then goes on to play this twisted form of Brandy, which is a great plot point, and he breaks his freaking Walkman. Dude, you can't do that! Let Yondu Udonta have no fear, saves the day. At least for a little bit. Soup. Okay, but seriously, that scene with Wham Bam, Shang-a-Lang, and all of the Sovereigns showing up, that gave me the chills. That was so cool. It was cool seeing Mantis use her powers to calm down Ego for a second there. And I think I laughed a little too hard when Star-Lord goes off and asks everybody, hey, you got some tape? A random thought that came into my head during watching the movie. The Sovereign are literally Colonel Sanders from that one Kentucky Fried Chicken ad. Can we all agree that the best line spoken out of the whole movie was, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all? That will go down in history. I'd say what comes second to that is, my nipples, from Drax, and then he flies up and lets out that, By the way, in that Earth scene, these two people are James Gunn's parents. We sat right behind them at Comic-Con at the panel. Right after that, you can see a very small face, and that is Guillermo Rodriguez from Jimmy Kimmel Live. They did a video all about that. It was funny. We see a brief montage of moments, including Peter and his mom listening to music. We see him and Rocket flying through the sky, and then we see Yondu when he was training young Quill. And I'm 99% sure that this old man in the car is Grandpa Quill from the first Guardians. And with the help of that huge Pac-Man he said he'd make, Star-Lord repaid his father for killing his mom and breaking his Walkman. Then comes for me the most emotional moment in the MCU yet, Yondu's sacrifice for Quill. It was so sad. He finally, he was like, your father may have been, your father, but he wasn't your daddy. And this was Yondu's kind of redemption, his big moment to sacrifice himself. And they have this really beautiful send-off to him with all the fireworks and the Ravagers coming back. Yondu, bud, why? Why did you have to do this?
Hey.
Yeah. Why?
Spoilers. No spoilers.
This is going to be in my review. That has the spoiler tag on it.
No, Yondu is alive and well, kids. Don't worry about it.
Right. It's so sad. Why? I'll catch you later. Starler's got the Zoom now, so he can listen to 300 songs. So I now we know what the music's coming from, where the Awesome Mix Volume 3 is going to be. I didn't know where it was going to come from. I just knew somehow that they were going to put that in there. So now Kraglin's got the Yondu arrow and somehow his own fin, but he manages to stab Drax. In the next credit scene, we see Stakar and the rest of the original Guardians team reunite, including Mainframe, voiced by Miley Cyrus, Alita Ogord, played by Michelle Yeoh, and then we have Martinex, played by Michael Rosenbaum, and Ving Rhames himself, playing Charlie 27. You might know him from Fast and the Furious, or even the Arby's voice from the We Have the Meats commercials. And then we have Krugar, who is a tie-in to Doctor Strange. In this one, we have Aisha making the Adam Warlock cocoon. Looks like he'll be a pretty big Volume 3 villain. And as people are dancing in the credits, you can see the Grandmaster, played by Jeff Goldblum, who we will see in Thor Ragnarok. And then Teenage Groot. This one was hilarious, with Star-Lord being the demanding father and all. Great line by Peter. Now I know how Yondu felt. And near the end of the Guardians Inferno song, David Hasselhoff comes back right there at the end of the credits. Then we have our last cameo, another Stan Lee. He's like, guys, where are you going? It's a good little way to end off. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I had a lot of fun making it. Such a great movie, guys. Leave all comments, anything you want to share in the comments below. And feel free to spoil, because this is a spoiler-filled review. So, guys, this was awesome. Thanks for watching. Baby Groot here wants you to like, comment, subscribe, do whatever, guys. I hope you enjoyed. See you guys in the next one.